So today is Friday. There's not a lot going on today, so this vlog is going to be completely dedicated, or mostly dedicated, to a request that I've had from my good friend Danny, who is a superb artist. That was actually done by my friend Danny, and as you can see, it is absolutely stunning. She can do all kinds of things, and I really think that if you want something perhaps to go on a t-shirt or something beautiful to go on the wall or as a gift for somebody, yeah, totally look her up. She's just fantastic at it. She basically wanted me to talk about the fact that I have kind of a weird kind of background. So my background is a little bit, I would say, complicated. Those of you who are watching who know me very well already know a little bit about this. Those who don't probably think that I'm just another English person, but I'm not. This is where it gets kind of a little funny, because I'm actually American, even though I don't sound it. I was born over in the States. I was adopted, and when the couple that adopted me both passed away, the only person who was interested in taking me on and looking after me was their daughter, and she lived here in the UK. So yeah, basically, I have a US passport, US birth certificate. I lived over there for a while until I was kind of, and yeah, I mean, I have very sort of vague pieces of memories of being over in the States. I mean, I don't remember a whole lot, I just remember little bits and pieces, like the fact that the house we lived in burned down. And I can distinctly remember the day Mum died, because obviously, she called out to me. By the time I got down to her from where I was playing with one of the neighbourhood kids, she was already gone. She was on the floor and gone. It's just little memories like that, little tiny bits and pieces that I have. I mean, I have like one memory of being on the traditional, yellow bus. I can distinctly remember the seat wasn't very comfortable. It was quite a bouncy ride, and yeah, I was messing about with one of those erasers you can stick on the end of your pencil. I was messing about with one of those. But yeah, at the age of about 7, I was put on a plane by myself. Then I'm not sure where we travelled to, but I had to switch planes, and yeah, I kind of got lost, which is just like me. I wander off. I have a habit of doing that. My family can attest to that, but that's another story for another time. I then got put on the second plane, and that brought me over to Heathrow, where I met the rest of my family for the very first time. When we were coming away from the airport, this is something that my family will never let me live down because it's completely funny. We were leaving the airport and we drove past a police officer, and the first comment out of my mouth was, "Oh look, a French policeman." So yeah, I was pretty dumb back then. Stupid things would come out of my mouth, like really stupid things. I mean, now I know it's I've got a bit more up here than what I did back then. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't remember a whole hell of a lot. about the States. But I did come over with a very strong accent, and some of the first, the sort of neighbourhood kids that I became friends with, they remember me with the States accent, and then it just kind of morphed, and I lost that particular aspect. I mean, there are people that say they can still hear it. They say that when I'm talking, they're like, oh, where are you from? You've got a little bit of a twang there, and I'm just like, well, yeah, I was originally from the States, but I mean, literally, when I hear myself talk, all I hear is the Cockney accent, East London, because obviously that's where I grew up with, my stepsister and her family. And yeah, I mean, I was treated just like she treated all of, because she had 3 kids anyway. One of which was 5 years older than me. And he was kind of like a big brother to me, even though I suppose in a technical sense, he's kind of my nephew. But yeah, and I mean, obviously, who knows where I would have ended up if they hadn't have taken me on. I spent my early years in Florida. It was a place, I believe it was called Citrus Springs, and yeah, I mean, it was quite nice. I mean, there was a wooded bit with, it kind of went down into almost like almost like a sort of a small valley, or like what's the word? I guess it'd be like a small valley. It was like being in a funnel. It would go all the way down, and we were always told to stay away from it. Of course, being nosy kids, we'd always go and have a little investigation, but we would never go very far into it, because obviously it was surrounded by trees. But I can remember going trick-or-treating once, walking around the neighbourhood. I was also a bit naughty. I snuck into somebody's house once. Had a little nose around. Dipped my foot in their pool. Yeah, I was a right little stinker. I really was. The rest of the UK half of my family can actually attest to that, because yeah, they lived with me for a good length of time, and I was a stinker. Obviously, after moving here, I think the whole change, and I think it affected me, because apparently I started acting very strange, and yeah, I got up out of class one day in the UK junior school. Apparently, I got up and the teacher I was heading for the door, and she was like, "Where are you going?" And I'm going to feed my horse. I think that's probably an after effect of all the upheaval, being moved, playing by yourself, which is a little freaky. I mean, I was next to an older gentleman on the first plane, offered me a bowl of sweet. Oh, stop your ears from going pop. And on the second plane, I was next to, I believe they were newlyweds, and they fell asleep, and I had to get past them to go to the bathroom. Good thing I was little. Could sneak past their legs, that was quite easy. But, yeah, I mean, it is a little weird, because being over here and still having a US passport, it basically means that I'm not allowed to vote. So, I mean, I've got what they call indefinite leave to remain, which basically means I'm allowed to reside here. It also means that I'm allowed to obviously claim social benefits and stuff. The only problem is I can't vote. Not that I would vote anyway. I mean, to be perfectly fair, I don't trust none of them. So, as some of the people that know me quite well, they know that my surname is actually the name that I got when I got married. I'm divorced now, but I keep the last name just purely because it's easier that way. It's easier to tell people how to spell it, and obviously my bank accounts and stuff are in that name, so it's just easier to keep it that way. But yeah, there's my passport, which needs renewing because it still is in my maiden name, which if I show you, there you go, that's me. The surname was Gennari, which after a trip to Italy with school I learned comes from the Naples area. And obviously my adopted father, Joseph, he was Italian, and my adopted mother, his wife, she was English, and that is how my sister was born over here. And she resided here, but that's my birth certificate, which actually, if you can see, has fire damage. And it's very strange because this one was actually issued 2 years after I was born. Very strange. But yeah, I mean, basically, it's very weird. I mean, it's extremely expensive now in order to renew this passport. It used to be that you could just, I could, get some passport-sized photos, go to the American Embassy in London, just walk in off the street, preferably early in the morning, fill out a form, hand over the form, the old passport, the photos, wait a while, they'd call me back, I would go over there, pay for it, whatever. Now you can't do that. Now you have to fill out a form that is basically a PDF. So you have to fill that out, print it off. You have to send that plus the old passport to the embassy. And apparently it then gets sent from there to America. Costs over £100 to do it. And it'd take about 4 months. And at the moment this thing ran out in 2007, because 97 was when I last updated it. And obviously the only other time that I was able, it cost me £32 just to put the amendment in the back, shortly after I got married. So yeah, but yeah, it is a pain in the backside to have to do that. I mean, I know for a fact that I've actually been told, not to, because I had thought about, people have said it to me before, why don't you get a British passport? Well, in order to do that, I would have to renounce my American citizenship. And I've actually been told that now it's nigh on impossible to get a British passport once you do that. So it's probably a good thing that I was so stuck in my ways in wanting to keep it, because I kind of see it as a part of who I am. I don't see myself as a British person. I don't. I see myself as an American. I just so happen to live over here. I kind of sound a lot like everybody else over here, But yeah, I like to think that I'm not like. I see it as just a part of my identity, and I'm not willing to give up parts of my identity for that. That's everything for today. Like I said, anytime you've got a question, you want to know anything else, pop it on down in the comments, and I will catch you all later. Bye.